as they are continuing on westbound here, so maybe they called to them and told them not to engage. But you see the two units there just kind of holding back. They don't have their lights on. They're just kind of working their way on. We're continuing westbound through, looks at Central Avenue. You just went right there. So we're on, I believe this looks like Slauson. We're on westbound Slauson, went through Central, and he's continuing on. And we're just having a slow creep behind him because of the air unit overhead who's directly over him. And so we try to give the air unit as much room as we can. And we continue on. And then now we're being restricted to a mile west of the Harbor Freeway, which he is approaching. So I'm going to have to kind of slow down Sky 5 here and wait for him to make his moves and shoot it from a long distance. But LAX is very busy tonight, and they're kind of keeping us out of the way. But it's pushing through traffic there. Continuing on, so westbound Slauson just went through, I believe this is Broadway's coming up on now. And he just continuing on, kind of made a southbound turn here into the neighborhood, working his way along, and we're just holding back, just kind of holding back a mile west of the Harbor Freeway for him, and so that's why you're having the long vision on this shot. You're normally right over the top of him, but because of LAX's requests and now with the sheriff's over him as well, and we're all being held down pretty low, it's kind of tough for us to get in there. So we're just going to hold back here and kind of keep an eye on him as he's going through. Looks like the CHP units, I believe those are CHP, that have gotten in behind him and now have lit up their lights. He's turning back northbound, so just making another big square. We're about 3 blocks south of Slauson here, and just about Broadway is the major north-south street. 5 is just holding and watching. Anyway, so just continuing on, come back up to Slauson now. We'll see which way he goes there once he heads up to there and into the neighborhood. And unfortunately, we can't get any closer to it right now because of LAX and also the police helicopter that's overhead. But there he goes. He's turning out, continuing west on Slauson out towards the Harbor Freeway. I'll kind of move down here to line up with Slauson. 5's going to move a little bit north. And so we can see as he see him come up to Main Street there as he goes through right there. Yeah, that is Main Street. He's on the westbound Slauson, and the next thing you'll see is going to be the Harbor Freeway, which is going to be the freeway that's north-south through South Central Los Angeles down here. And so kind of keep an eye on him. You can see it swerving around the back here. That's what they were talking about earlier. He was having a problem controlling this car. Now turning northbound, I believe that was Main Street he just turned northbound on. From Slauson, picking up speed, really kind of cooking along there. Hopefully he goes a little further north, gets out of the LAX airspace so we can kind of move in a little closer to it. So unfortunately, it's kind of hindering our ability to fly. This 5's moving north on Slauson here.
Yeah, he's coming back your way now, Tim. This guy seems real reluctant to get on the freeway. He's been driving with real fidgety behavior, as you mentioned, jerking back and forth. These Corvettes are equipped from the factory with run-flat tires, essentially designed to withstand a puncture and hold a certain amount of air in the tires and allow you to keep driving for a certain amount of time. Whether or not he hit the spike strip, we don't know, but clearly he still has control of that vehicle and driving really in bizarre and crazy fashion, dangerous fashion, particularly for surface streets where you've got cross traffic, the potential for pedestrians, and this guy as reckless as we've seen in some time.
Yeah, you can see right there, he's blacked out. Now, the police cars have backed off. I don't see anybody in behind him, and this is a little tough for me here to kind of look out there and figure out where he is on the streets. But Jeff Labs, my camera operator, is doing a great job staying with him through those streets, using the camera here to keep an eye on him. But, yeah, it's really difficult for us here. But, yeah, he's swerving around. They were talking about that earlier in this, where he just seems like he gets on the gas pretty hard and loses the back end as he goes around corners and then gets real hard on the brakes. So it's, you know, it's kind of funny how he's driving this car. It seems like, like they said, he doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. But he's still out coming back up to Slauson's going to be the major. He went through right there. Then comes
there he
in
goes
again.
now.
He turned back westbound Slauson. Yeah, I got you there, Knight. Going back westbound Slauson. And so he's just making a big square here. So he's heading back down towards Broadway, and the street he's coming up on to now will be Main. Again, back on the brakes. And it looks like he's going to the intersection back northbound Main. So that was just one big square he just pulled there as he went around. So it's, you know, just you don't know what he's doing here or what he's thinking. We haven't heard any information about a want on the car. It's just wanted for speed only now. Speed only now by the police, and so right now we don't know exactly what's going on with it. In fact, I'm going to move into a different position, try to see if I can pick him up a little bit more, but LAX tower not cooperating too well with us. Normally they just let us get right up to the Harbor Freeway, but for some reason tonight they're not letting us get over there. But here he comes back eastbound on the surface street there. The area unit still has the light out to him. Now he's coming up the intersection, pulling through, indicating a northbound turn here. So see exactly, well, looks pushing through that red light, almost getting hit by cross traffic. Yeah, push through the red light, pushing back northbound as we continue on here down in this southern area of Los Angeles, the surface area for LAX, and pushing our way back north here. Let's see if this looks right here. We'll try to see what streets he's passing. And what the problem we're having right now is they're not broadcasting where this guy is over the police radio. That's normally how we can pick up on where he's at and kind of get cues off them where he's driving. But they're not broadcasting this pursuit at all on the frequency, so it's hard for us to pick up. And not being over the top of it, I'm just having to kind of guess on the streets he's on. So he's just continuing up through here, and we'll be coming up on another major intersection here, which I believe is going to be maybe Exposition. It might be the street that comes down through here. We're just continuing sliding north here, and this is taking us hopefully out of the surface area for LAX. So it's really been kind of a bizarre pursuit here as we're continuing on, just kind of pushing along. Now I'm looking here to see if he's going to make it through. Okay, now he turned the corner, came right back at us here.
Now it's an active pursuit again. They're right back on his tail, something they had been really unwilling to do for some time. Oftentimes they'll lay back and sort of monitor the guy, you know, without being right on his tail. They don't want to incite him, given his willingness to take this level of risk, especially on surface streets at night, driving with his lights off. What this guy's up to is anybody's guess, but clearly he doesn't want to stray far from this neighborhood, going really, really fast and taking a lot of risk, especially through these intersections. But to this point, we don't believe he's been on the freeway. Some 45 minutes now, wanted for reckless driving, and he's certainly keeping up that clip and that tendency here 45 minutes in, driving like this with his headlights off.
Well, he might get LAPD now is just taking over the pursuit here. You can see those 3 LAPD units there. They're trying to coordinate a handoff from the area units from the Sheriff's Department to the LAPD. So right now, that's what they're doing. He's coming back eastbound towards us here. We're about 3 streets south. It looks like Jefferson or Adams. And now back down south here, working his way through the area down here. We should start hearing it up on the LAPD frequencies here pretty quick, because now the LA Sheriffs has pulled off. LAPD is dropping in with their aircraft over this pursuit, and they have units in behind it. So we should start hearing an LAPD broadcast here in a second. That'll help us out. And you see hard on the brakes. You got LAPD cross traffic turning back to the west there. That's going to be, I believe, Slauson again, from what I can tell here. He has Slauson. And so he's back westbound Slauson, and we're just kind of going back and forth out here over Los Angeles Street down here, because of the restriction by the LAX tower. But here he is continuing on, turning back northbound. Just keep circling that one area here, and we're just kind of keeping an eye on that. And the sheriffs are now pulling out of the area, and so we're kind of just keeping an eye out here. We should start hearing a broadcast from LAPD, exactly where he's at, what streets he's on. But they're in active pursuit now. The speeds have picked up quite a bit. So he's coming up the next intersection, through that intersection, on the brakes, and right-hand turn, left-hand turn, making back the westbound now, heading back towards Main Street. Now he's on a small residential street here, heading back towards Main. The light he's going to come up to is going to be Main Street. We'll see what he does when he gets there. Got 3 LAPD units in pursuit. The LAPD has taken this over now and trying to get this thing stopped, and they'll go through their process of spike strips or pit maneuvers, because the LAPD is pit authorized and pit trained. So if they get a shot at him, they will take him out, because this has just gone on too long. And the longer he races through these intersections down here at the speeds he's going, we're going to have an accident. You see just blowing right through Adams there, working our way back north towards the 10 freeway if he continues on, really picking up speed. I'm watching the LAPD air unit overhead. Looks like it's really cooking along. So that gives me the idea how fast this guy is going. And luckily now we're moving out of the LAX area here, happen. So let me send it back to you, Micah, for a second so I can coordinate and try to get a little higher and closer to this pursuit.
Well, you see the tendency this guy is, and the risk this guy's willing to take on these surface streets, especially driving with his lights off. We have no idea what is going through his mind at this point, driving like this with his lights off. Wants to stay on surface streets. Again, they wanted him, the sheriff's department, for reckless driving. He's in a late model Corvette. It appears to be a 6th generation Corvette, and as we mentioned, those cars are equipped from the factory with run flat tires, so a spike strip may not be as effective on a car like that as it would be on standard cars. Again, no way of knowing what sort of tires he has on there, but if it came from the factory with the run flats, then he's got an advantage. The sheriff's department was monitoring him for some time from a distance and from the air without engaging in an active pursuit, but LAPD has since taken over as the lead agency in this pursuit, and they have elected to go after this guy, and so they are on his tail, as Tim mentioned, with 3 black and whites on the ground. You've got airships overhead and a whole lot of traffic at 20 past the 10 o'clock hour on a Friday night in the South Los Angeles area. This guy wants to stay on surface streets, and he continues to pass opportunities to get on the freeway with extraordinary power under the hood in that Corvette. And we haven't seen a pursuit suspect drive with as much reckless abandon as this individual in some time. He appears to be in the car alone. Of course, there are only 2 seats in a Corvette. You have the driver, and it looked like the passenger seat was empty from the few moments that we were able to see him as he goes through intersections, going really, really fast through some of these areas that are not very well lit at all. Tim trying to negotiate Sky 5 to a closer position, but of course you've got the incoming on final approach, the air traffic, and what we understand is a very heavy night of air traffic into LAX, so they're keeping the helicopter at a certain distance. There you see a black and white as we continue to try and follow the Corvette as he comes through this intersection. You got a lot more than 3 black and whites on this now, Tim.
I'm sorry, I'm back with you, Micah. I might have lost you there for a second. We just turned back off of about Vermont here, turning back eastbound on King Boulevard, Martin Luther King Boulevard, heading back towards, actually, XX position, I believe he's on. He's right to the south of, the Coliseum here. It's going back towards the Harbor Freeway. We went east of the Harbor Freeway. Five's turning back around, just holding. Back east to the, or west of the Harbor Freeway. Now we're heading back east, coming back up on Figueroa here. This is Figueroa. He's coming up onto it right now. And now coming northbound Figueroa, away from Exposition, heading up here towards the north end of the USC campus, and just cooking right along. You see the speeds are really going now as he's coming up to a major intersection here. And I believe this is going to be Jefferson he's coming up onto now. And he's got green light right now, a little bit of traffic in this intersection. We'll see which way he goes from here. And continuing around. And continuing here, coming up to the intersection, we'll see what kind of a turn he makes here. If he goes straight on through Jefferson, continuing northbound on Figueroa, heading down towards the downtown area, and just really moving right along. And if they spike stripped him, he's going to have a little control issue with that, even with the run flat tires. Going through USC area here on Figueroa, coming up to the next intersection, and through the intersection, turning to the east, back eastbound here. On the south side of USC, working back up underneath the Harbor Freeway as we continue on here. This guy is just really flying the mail at this point now in that Corvette with LAPD in hot pursuit, and they're going to try to get out in front of him. We hear that we've been talking to him about they've been talking about the spike strips on this guy, but at these speeds, they're not going to be able to get him out that quick ahead of him because he's continuing so fast. They're hard to get ahead of him and trying to get on this guy as much as possible. Now turning northbound. I believe that's Main Street, if I'm correct there, northbound Main Street, and then heading up towards the 10 freeway here. It's going to be a kind of a wide open area here if he gets a little bit further north as we go along, and kind of looking around, trying to figure out exactly where he's going to go. But LAPD is hot in pursuit of this guy. Speeds have really picked up since they got him behind him. LAPD wanted to stop this thing before it got anybody hurt because with these guys blasting around down here, it really is dangerous. Through that intersection there on a green, high rate of speed, passing traffic, that's stopping for the police units, heading up towards the 10 freeway as he continues on here in the South LA area. As, if we can find out exactly why he's running so hard, like I said, it's just reckless driving right now. But He's putting a lot of people in danger just by the way he's flying along the roadways down here. But coming up to the intersection here, turning back to the east, 1 street south of the 10 freeway. So he's parallel on the 10 freeway eastbound away from, I'm believing that's Spring Street that he just turned on. Actually, yeah, it was Los Angeles Street. He just turned off. Now he turned back to the south, a quick turn around and working his way back down, coming up to a T intersection here. So he's going to have to go left or right. We'll see what he does. Hard on the brakes, and it looks like he's going to turn back towards us, back towards Los Angeles Street, and come back up to the intersection, cross traffic, and there he goes back northbound, same place he was before, making those big squares as he's going. Unknown if he knows exactly where he's at, but he's coming along here, and this is, like I said, Los Angeles Street coming back up towards the 10 freeway. You see him right there, and kind of fishtailing around like we've been seeing all along, coming up to the intersection, blowing on through, going straight through now. This takes him up to the 10 freeway.
You did, yeah, I don't know if you saw that, but Tim, this guy appears to be under the influence of something. I mean, this frenetic behavior, wow, and there's a near miss. It's these intersections that create so much danger. Fortunately, he's driving in a largely industrial area just south of downtown Los Angeles, so risk is minimized to some degree, but we just got a glimpse of this guy sort of bouncing in his seat as he's driving that Corvette. Frenetic behavior, to say the least, something we haven't seen. And now, for the first time, we're seeing this guy get on the freeway. Tim, is he headed southbound?
Now we're eastbound 10 freeway from Los Angeles. He's on the right side there, pushing along. The LAPD just got on the freeway behind him. It looks like he's now bailing off the next ramp here, and then coming down the bottom of that ramp, whipping around, and this will put him down the San Pedro off ramp. And then you see the LAPD units coming off the freeway behind him, coming up to the intersection here. Boom, bang, right through that intersection. You can see how fast he was going. He just bottomed out going through there, lost a little bit of control as he zipped through there. Now he's coming on. He's turning back northbound underneath the freeway, continuing on under the freeway back northbound. We'll get the street for you in a second here, but as we continue on, just really high speed. This thing is not going to end well if he keeps flying that, driving that fast and that hard, because he doesn't have command of that car, as you've noticed, and I've noticed. Every time he gets going, he starts losing control of the car. So he's going to come through one of these intersections and just completely lose it. Now we're in the industrial area of the south side of downtown Los Angeles. This is all industrial area. He's coming up to a T intersection here. He's got cross traffic. It's a stop sign where he's coming to. We'll see which way he's going to go here. And getting on the brakes here, then pushing into the intersection. Cross traffic he's holding, and now pushing through the traffic, turning back northbound. This is taking him down into the downtown area, pushing through the, I believe this is the Garment District area he is right now. But yeah, this is a very dangerous pursuit with these speeds. There's a lot of traffic down here downtown right now. So there's, even though it's late on a Friday night, there's still a lot of folks down here moving around. And he's just blowing by people on this street. Coming up to a red light here. We got units with the red lights on at that intersection, blocking traffic, going through, pushing, turning now westbound. Westbound back down towards the south end of downtown, and he'll be into the high-rises here in about another 4 or 5 blocks. But I believe this is about 8th Street he's on now, turning back to the north, pushing his way up the east side of downtown. The high-rises kind of going along, so this, no telling where this guy's going to end up now. Now turning back to the east through the buildings, coming around. So a lot of tight streets up in here, a lot of cross traffic, and now turning back to the north, still working his way northbound up towards City Hall here. And it's, you know, it's anybody's game on where this guy's going to end up and what he's going to do. But driving that car the way he is, he's going to overdrive it here at one point, and just lose control and hit something solid. Hopefully not another car. But now turning back to the east, coming up to the next intersection, making another right-hand turn, coming to the south. And you can see it's just around in circles, just completely going around in circles. Now we've moved way up to the north side of the 10 freeway, so we're back up here next to downtown, and he's just doing the circles around the Garment District here now, working southbound now here. We'll get the name of the street as we come along. Jeff is listening to the LAPD helicopter on the frequency now, turning to the west. It's going to be right directly underneath us here as he comes along, and we'll keep an eye on him as he goes along and slide around so he doesn't get right underneath us. And now turning back down to the south here. Let's see exactly where the street, these are real small streets in the industrial part of downtown, working its way through, and now turning back to the
oh, there went the rear end.
Back to the west, and I'm trying to see. That looks like about 8th Street now, if I can tell, looking at the Staples Center. The 8th Street is coming up onto a intersection here, a little bit of cross-traffic head. And no, this is going to be close. Boom! Oh. Right there, big smash. Just really hit that car. You saw it. Oh, this is going to be close. Boom! Right there, big smash. Just really hit that car. You saw it coming. I'm going to bring Sky 5 around so we can see what we have here. But he just T-boned that car right in the middle of the intersection. He's up on the curb. LAPD bailing out of their units coming up on him. But what a violent crash. Just took that car. The other car hit a fire hydrant, and it's just blowing water all over the street. And we have the suspect trying to get away. He's badly damaged vehicle trying to get away now into the tree as it goes along. Now, if we widen out just a little bit, Tim, you'll see right there. That's where the other car ended up. But let's go back onto the suspect vehicle. Door open. The guy's out.
Game over.
And he's on Los Angeles Boulevard.
They're taking
down
him
he
out.
goes. He's probably pretty injured from that crash. That was a very, very violent crash. And now the LAPD op. I got you there.
Yeah, let's pull out, Tim. I'm not sure whether those were non-lethal rounds or not, but clearly they hit him with a whole lot of something as he tried to run from behind that car. And the immediate concern now as well, Tim, I don't know what you can gather from your picture, that innocent driver who came through the intersection and was the victim of this guy's reckless driving, who then sheared a fire hydrant. Is there any sense of the well-being of that individual?
Okay, we're going to have Jeff push in on him. Push in on they're going over to the system now. Jeff, pull into that car. We're going to look here. The driver door is open. Officers are going over to render assistance there, but a pretty violent hit right on Los Angeles here. Officers are running down the street here. I don't know where they're going. What happened here? Maybe somebody just got out of that car. Yeah, look over here. Maybe they knew better. They knew to get the heck out of the car and go hide. So those might be the occupants of the car, but the LAPD officers went over and checked the car, and now they've gone over these folks in the alleyway here. So they knew that they didn't want to be any part of this, and so they seek cover behind the buildings, and they're kind of keeping an eye on them. But yeah, they went over and checked the door. Now we'll go back over and see what we got going here. Now officers are going up to the suspect here. Let's kind of move in here a little bit more, Jeff, and see what we have going on down there. The look down, the officers are at the suspect. It looks like they're rendering aid. I'm not really sure. I can't really tell from the shot that we have here, but they've got him laid out there, and officers are over him. Doesn't look like they're too excited or trying to handcuff him unless they've already done that, but they're over the top of him. And yeah, I couldn't really tell what happened when he came out. I just saw him go around the back of the car and then kind of fall down onto the sidewalk there. But man, what a horrific crash that was. As we came around the corner here, Los Angeles Street, and I'm going to say this is probably about 8th Street. He's going to try to check the sign, but go back to the car, and we'll keep an eye on this. But it's about 8th Street in Los Angeles where this crash occurred. LAPD, they're looking at the suspect. They got him proned out, and now calling for paramedics to come in as well. So
we've got a replay on screen left right here. Tim, we're going to show this thing again, that T-bone right in the middle of that intersection. I don't think the driver of the Corvette or the victim ever saw it coming. It didn't appear that either of them hit the brakes, and he smacked into them at a good rate of speed. But then ended up trying to drive away. When that didn't work, he got out of the car, as you see on the left here. This is a videotape from just a few moments ago in the downtown LA area, just south of downtown, in a largely industrial area where you might find more guard dogs than people at this time of night. As he came through this intersection, we've seen him do this so many times over the last hour, near misses, and this time taking out a victim as they come through that intersection of the industrial area south of downtown Los Angeles. The victim's car then shearing that fire hydrant as we come back to the live picture, and the suspect behind the wheel of that Corvette. The frenetic behavior we saw from him, we haven't seen from a pursuit suspect in some time, bouncing around fidgety in that Corvette, getting squirrely on the rear end of it, driving with his lights off at a very high rate of speed, reluctant to get on the freeway. He did so for a very short period of time, most of this pursuit going on in Southgate, Huntington Park area, and then taking its way toward the south of downtown area. And there you see a dramatic end, Tim, that the likes of which we haven't seen in some time.
Oh yeah, as I was saying, I was watching that happen. I saw the closure of the two cars, the one northbound and then the westbound suspect vehicle, and you can just tell from up here that the closure rate is going to be exactly in the intersection, and we just saw it happen there as he just T-boned this guy, spinning him out of control, and then the follow up here. But it looks like, yeah, there may have been lethal force used on this, just the way the suspect is laying there on the sidewalk, and the officers are not around him right now. We've heard them call for the ambulance to come in. I'm watching the area to see for the rescue ambulance to come in. They always call them in to get any aid to them if they possibly can. But you can see the massive amount of police cars that are here on scene. They were just in the area holding the perimeter of this pursuit to try to block off intersections. We saw several of them just sitting in intersections, stopping people so this would not happen. But unfortunately, this was one intersection with one car that got hit here. So we're going to keep an eye on this and bring you the latest as it becomes available. So I'll send it back down to you, Micah.
Boy, that suspect on a mission that was destined to end poorly, and it did just that for him. Tim Lynn aboard Sky 5. I'm Micah Olin reporting on the other side of a short break, an abbreviated edition of the Ford Sports Final. Stay with us.
How far back is he?
Way back there.
Oh, shit. Later.
Got smoked.
Mazda.
Was that what that was?
Yeah. He got a turbo, though. What?
He got turboed.